Okay, hi Eepsit. Thank you so much for doing this. Okay, so we are actually recording this screen right now because Eepsit has actually offered to run us through this platform, his company's platform called Affable, and he's going to help us understand how the platform will help us as brands, small business owners to look for micro influencers with Affable. And Eepsit, I will just give you the time to run us through what Affable is about and maybe just run us through the key features that would help us look for micro influencers in Singapore.
Sure. Thanks, Shaman. So basically, before I start, I'd like to provide a context of what Affable does. Is so using Affable, any brand, any small business can find most relevant influencers for their business. Now, influencers are very important to act as an endorsers for your products. So finding the right set of people who have the relevant audience and the right kind of engagement, becomes very crucial, and that's where Affable's discovery and content discovery, it helps you in finding influencers from the pool of 1.5 million plus influencers, and find the right person exactly. You can use different filters. So I'll take you step by step. Let's say we are looking for micro influencers in Singapore.
Yeah.
For a beauty brand.
Yeah.
And there would be 3 steps majorly. First is you define a persona of influencer. So let's say this is already by default Singapore is the location, and since we are looking for micro influencers, so let's say our follower range is from 5,000 to 50,000. Then our interest is beauty. So I'll put in beauty, and you can also see some other subcategories in here like body care, hair and makeup. But let me just choose beauty for example. And also maybe as a requirement, you might only want to work with female influencers because this is more relevant to the beauty segment overall.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some additional filters saying you can define audience quality in terms of suspicious followers. So I want to put it, let's say, only until 10%. And also I want to reach out to these influencers, contact them after I've shortlisted them. So I want to have their contact information available. So based on these initial parameters, based on influencer persona, I have like around 570 plus female influencers who are interested in beauty in Singapore within this follower range. Right. The next step would be, what I want is I would be defining my audience. So let's say for my product, I am targeting females from 19 to 30 age group, and also who are staying in Singapore. So you can also define if they have a particular interest, let's say in beauty, or you can put in, okay, we are looking for influencers, followers who are audience who are staying in Singapore. So with these initial, let me just put in Singapore as well, and the system will basically recalculate. And now if you see, out of those 571 influencers, if you see Juliana, she has around 10,000 overall followers audience, and then she has 3,800 targeted followers, which means 3,800 followers from her total audience, they fall into this age group, this gender group, and the country is Singapore.
Right.
So this targeted follower insights becomes very, very crucial to understand 2 things. One is, okay, what kind of expectation you can set from engaging this particular influencer, and second, it can give you a good negotiation insight where okay, this is the kind of engagement that I can expect, and basically you can get back to influencers and talk about it, okay, find out the sweet spot in your negotiation.
Right. But what would you say is the usual conversion rates of micro influencers?
Can you please elaborate in terms of conversion rate?
So right now we have the actual numbers. We don't look at just 10,000 followers. So we know that, okay, my audience is female, age between 19 to 32, and we are looking at 3,800 followers. And out of this 3,800 followers that will have the potential to see the post, what
Right.
what can we expect? What can small business owners expect in terms of click-throughs? Is there anything that they can look out for and have a better expectations, or when they actually just work with this micro influencers, the only thing that they can probably check back is that they have posted about them and have tagged them in the post? Is there anything?
Sure, definitely. So this is the first level of search where you have like based on this over the top understanding of okay what kind of target influencer number that I'm looking at. Now, if you want to have a deeper look into okay if this influencer would be relevant for me or not, you can just click on the profile and go and have a like a detailed look into what kind of engagements that they are getting, what kind of content they are posting, and the interest and everything. So if you see, so this is the on the left you see basic details about a profile. Audience demographics, you see 62% of her audience is coming from Singapore. This is the age distribution and audience age distribution and gender distribution, so which is very relevant.
Yes.
And the next step, what you would see is like number of likes and engagement. And here, this is the red flag. You see, although she has 10,000 followers and maybe 4,000 relevant followers, relevant audience, she only is getting on an average 54 likes, which is only 0.5% of engagements. Whereas similar influencers, they are getting around 5.8% of engagement.
Right.
So this is where you get to know, okay, this influencer will get you the engagements or not. Right.
Okay.
So I guess this answers your question.
Yeah, so should they look out for likes? Because at the end of the day, likes are I mean, is there like maybe things like links that they can ask the influencer to link up?
Sure, definitely, and you can run actually this complete affiliate model with them. So you can provide influencers with discount codes or maybe some trackable URLs. Where if let's say if they are promoting, or you can like analyze them based on cost per sales or cost per clicks, and along with this number of likes and engagement percentage, and as well as impression data. So in our reports, we also provide you how many impressions that you are getting each influencer, what is the reach of the post.
Okay, and also another question, how is this defined, like in terms of the engagement? Is this based on the most recent post? This influencer had 54 likes and 23 comments?
Right. So this takes into consideration minimum 100 posts or the data of up to like 3 to 6 months.
So they average out based on 100 posts?
Minimum 100 posts, yes.
Okay, so Affable actually averages out the 100 posts and comes up with this data of the likes and comments.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Right, and then other insights that you can get is which are the brands that she has posted about. And if you just click on this brand, okay, 1 month back she has posted about Skechers, and if you just want to have a look at the post, you just click on that and you see, okay, this was the post and this was her caption, these are the hashtags that she has used and all other details. Right, and similarly you can search for different brands, maybe your brand or a competitor. You can sort the results based on number of sponsored posts. So she has done few sponsored posts, so for example Starbucks, and she has like frequently posted about Starbucks, but you see 2 years back she has done a sponsored post, and again you just click on that and you can see what the post was.
So and how will we know that this was a sponsored post? Because she tagged that it was a sponsored post, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So anywhere if an influencer tags like a sponsored post or a paid post or paid partnership or any kind of keyword related to that,
right,
our system directly captures it,
right,
shows it here.
So for the rest of the posts that she has been posting about Starbucks, it wasn't a sponsored post, but she has mentioned about Starbucks.
She has just mentioned Starbucks.
Right. Okay, yeah. Understand.
Right, and basically, yeah. So with these information, and then you can see her follower timeline, like how her followers have grown over time, how it is being fluctuating over a period of time. Typically, what we suggest that the more smooth the graph is, the better it is. based on the audience quality and the organic behavior of a profile. But since the variation is not too much, then again it can be based on brand's requirement and their understanding. But what Affable does is it gives you this historic data and the plot, so that like you can decide, okay, this is the kind of curve that you want or not, in that sense. And same thing for engagement timelines.
So her followers actually dropped from 10,000 to...
So now if you see, this drop is like 10,100 to 10,000 only.
Oh,
So,
right.
This drop is not very significant.
Right,
so
right.
That's why it is important to also look at the delta
Right.
of the team,
Yes.
right? So in that sense, it is not that bad.
But was there usually do you think it's the accounts that Instagram that has closed that has made this decrease in the followers timeline, or do you think people actually really went to unfollow this influencer?
Most common cases are one is people as people become inactive on Instagram, right? So their growth rate stops. So again, the curve might flatten out, and eventually, like after a certain period, Instagram keep on checking your follower quality, and they just remove the bot farms and like the bot followers or suspicious followers. So
Yeah.
this is a self-check from Instagram's perspective, and that's where your followers they drop.
Right.
And maybe in some kind of bad publicity cases, that followers might unfollow the brands or like influencers.
Right.
So there could be like multiple reasons for that.
Right.
Right, and same thing for engagement timeline. You can see how the graph goes based on different posts, and you can also check the post. Okay, this was the post in 30th of January 2019, and this was the average likes and comments.
So these are based on likes only, or it takes into account both things, likes and comments, is it?
Likes and comments both, and if you just click on that post, you can actually just go to that post as well.
Right.
Right, so overall, what Affable does is, let's say, without Affable, if you want to search for influencers, their content, it will take you hours of effort to just analyze one or two influencers.
Yes.
And let's say if you're planning a campaign, so it will take you 1 or 2 weeks of work just to plan the campaign, shortlist influencers. With Affable, you can just do that within a couple of hours max.
Yes.
So it's reducing your 2 weeks of work within a couple of hours. So that's where we add maximum value. And some other insights is like audience brand saturation for influencer. In the last 3 months, she has posted 37 times. Out of that, 95% was the branded content and 5% was non-branded organic content. Now, typically we suggest that this balance should be like at least 70-30 or less.
Yeah.
What we have observed as a correlation is people with having this higher brand saturation, their engagement numbers go down over the period of time. And again, this could be the reason why she has very low engagement, because the audience also becomes saturated with all the brand exposure that they are getting from a particular account.
Right.
And this then audience psychographic, so you want to know what are the other interests that her audience follow, and then you see this distribution. So her 64% of her audience also follow food, beauty, cuisine. So you have this whole idea about an audience. So overall, you get a very detailed insight within 30 to 40 seconds for any influencer. Yeah, and on the go, you can shortlist. So let's say I want to shortlist this particular influencer for a particular group, and then you can just access your groups, access your shortlist for different brands, right? So you see 84 influencers. These are the influencers that are there. You can just select them all. You can export their data. You can send them an email. So basically, you can manage all your discovery plus reach out at one place.
Yes. So back to micro influencers. I think there are definitely benefits of working with micro influencers, and one of the things why I encourage brands to work with micro influencers is also for them to understand like how it works working with influencers. So there are some like things that we can look out for in terms of micro influencer, and you have mentioned some of the things to also look out for, like engagements and their followers, right? And what are some of the brands maybe that are currently working with micro influencers? Are we able to find that out?
So recently, brands like Studio, Yakult, so they are trending in terms of influencer marketing in Singapore in
Right.
Recent weeks. Now, how do you decide to go if you want to go with a micro influencer or a macro influencer? A very simple criteria is understanding their audience base. So a micro influencer would have a very niche audience, right?
Yes.
People like a micro influencer is a sportsman, right, or a person who was a fitness instructor. Now their audience would definitely be following them only for fitness related tips or a sports related content.
Yes.
Right, so it is a very niche and very specific audience, targeted audience. So if you are an SME who are working on a sports equipment or something like that, and if you want to focus more towards the conversion related metrics by your engagement with influencers, then micro influencers would be very relevant. But as a comparison, if you're a brand, if you're more focused toward creating a brand awareness, and you are not worried about a very niche segment, but you want to capture more audience, right, get more eyeballs, then it makes sense for you to go for macro level or celebrity level influencers based on your budget and based on your requirements.
Right. So I see on the screen right here on the left, it says sort by relevance, followers, and engagements. What are the difference between these three options here that you have set, which is female, the interest is beauty, locations in Singapore, and their followers are between 5,000 to 50,000?
So basically, this is just the sorting criteria. So based on these parameters that you are seeing, so our system has shortlisted 571 influencers who are female in beauty and in Singapore with this follower range. Now, how do you sort? So let's say if your requirement is I want to target influencers having highest number of followers to lower number of followers, then you can just click on sorting based on the followers, and all the influencers that you would look at, you will see at the top will have most amount of followers. So
right. Okay. So you filter them based either on them having a lot of followers or based on their engagement.
The relevance to the content. So the relevance would be based on the beauty, and their content would be most relevant to the beauty related topics.
Okay. Understand.
Yeah, and one more very interesting way to find influencers or find the content is through content discovery. So quickly covering that, here you can find all kind of influencer data content based on their username or a group of influencers. Maybe you can use some hashtags. So for example, hashtag Chanel, right? So that's the one hashtag. And based on that, you can see, okay, in last 1 year, you can narrow down your search to, okay, I'm looking for last 2 months. So in Singapore, there are 162 posts with this hashtag, this in this time range. You can also define your based on the brand. So let's say for Yakult, so again 28 posts in last 2 months. Now this tells you, okay, they are pretty active. And then you can also, and if let's say this is the similar brand, let's say I'm a food and beverage retailer,
yeah,
and I'm looking for influencers for my business, yeah, it would be a good idea to go for the influencers which are being engaged by similar brands or brands in different countries or brands in different segments like that.
Okay, so just one quick question. There's 28 posts that mention and tag Yakult Singapore here. But how many of it is sponsored? We are able to see that, right? Just checking this option, only shows sponsored content.
Just check it, and out of 28, 24 was sponsored.
Wow, okay. So that's a big ratio actually.
Exactly, and that tells you that how aggressively this particular brand is right now promoting.
Yes.
And maybe a good part of their strategy would be to, since everybody is now sitting at home, right, and they are like spending their time on social media, so why not use that channel?
Right. Potential. Okay. And are we able to tell what are some of the brands that are actively working with this micro influencers right now?
Sure, definitely. So you can go to this trend section and click on market trends, and here you can define, okay, you are looking for region like Singapore, and in last 1 month, and based on only sponsored content. And if you do the search, so these are the top 5 most active brands, including Daniel Wellington, Samsung, Yakult Singapore. These are the influencers with highest engagement, top 5. These are the trending hashtags that again you see. So Yakult Ace Lite. So this is their product that they are promoting.
Yes.
Samsung's Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G. These are the top hashtags and influence post with highest engagement. So these are the top 3 performing posts.
So just to clarify on the trending hashtags, these are trending hashtags that the influencers have used, or in Singapore this has been trending?
This is based on the sponsored content. These are the mostly used hashtags.
Okay, I understand. So another question. Say for example, I'm trying to. This is based on influencers, right? Am I able to look for just trending hashtags in Singapore?
Trending hashtags like in general?
In general, in Singapore, but in Singapore that.
So I guess that you can directly do through Instagram. Like if you know the hashtags. Typically on Affable, we are only focused and we are only confine us.
For influencers, to know more about influencers and the contents that they have been posting, and what are some of the brands?
Because you can have like for any particular hashtag or for any particular post, you can have thousands of likes, but those likes are coming from people with like 100 or 500 followers, which are like normal users like us.
Yes.
Right. So that might not be very relevant for brands or businesses.
Right. Okay. So is there anything else that we should cover, especially if brands are looking to work with micro-influencers that we have talked about earlier, in the range of 5,000 onwards?
Sure. I guess so. In terms of features, discovery and content discovery are most useful features. What brands can do is like have a thorough search about influencers and get a good idea. Again, through content discovery, what you can see is what are the kind of content being posted in different parts of the world, or different brands or similar brands, but in different regions. You can get some kind of content inspirations, right? In different categories, different segments, what you can do, and then basically create a good brief for what you want influencers to create their content around. So that's one good, because a good content always gets maximum engagement. So quality of content is a must. And second, then you definitely should be looking for influencers' engagements and their comments of their profile, their audience. Because again, let's say, just to give you an example, for Studio, so we also support these kind of campaign reports, where like during your campaign you can on real time generate these reports and get insight of how your campaign is performing. So if you see this overall performance, but let's say if you want to have a deeper look on like how each influencer is performing, or each influencer post is performing. So for this person, if this is a Singapore focused campaign, then definitely majority of engagement is coming from Singapore, which is good. But let's say if this is a case where majority of engagement is coming from some other country, but your influencer is based in Singapore, then you might need to rethink if he has the relevant or right audience for your particular messaging. So again, not only finding the influencer and finding the right content and posting it, but also measuring and like keeping an eye, keeping a track of how they are performing on a real time basis, so that you can like quickly like modify your campaigns and like get better results by iteration.
Right.
What is called as influencer marketing optimization.
As in to let them know maybe what are some things that they can be posting if they haven't. Okay, that's interesting. And just one question, are we able to find out what are some brands, that means not taking into consideration the filter of the beauty brands, are we able to find out brands, what are some brands that are working with influencers in the last month?
That again you can go, so these are the brands which are working with influencers in last month. Again, this is not defined by
any other filters, right?
Yeah. It's just like sponsored versus non-sponsored content, and last month and country. That's it.
Okay, so that's that we have Singapore insiders, but they are just being mentioned, right? Because these are just tags, most active brands. So if we look at sponsored content, then it would look at so this is Philippines, and basically Dove and the watch Daniel Wellington and Shopee has been working with influencers.
Exactly. So these are the brands who are having most of the influencer posts or social media paid posts around this region.
Right. So let's swap it back to Singapore and let's look at the last month and last 3 months.
Okay.
Also,
So
actually, not many brands in Singapore actually are working with influencers.
So this is not an exhaustive list. This is just the top 5 brands that we are showing.
Right. Okay.
It could be like 50 brands or 100 brands who are working with influencers.
Right.
But just as a limitation to the dashboard and how much information you can show. So this is definitely we are showing only top 5.
Okay.
But we are like on a case-to-case ad hoc basis. We are happy to help with more information. Let's say if you're looking for a list of top 50, happy to help with that one-off query.
Right. So you are able to help your customers with that one-off.
Definitely. We work very closely with our customers,
Yes.
and we have like on the back end we have all the data.
Right.
It's just a matter of like how do we fetch it.
Right. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to cover before we end this video on the micro-influencers that we have talked about that brands can use Affable to kind of find out some of the influencers that they can work with based on their following, basically based on I think their followers, their engagement rates, the targeted followers. Is there anything else that you would like to cover before we end the call?
No, I guess I've pretty much covered all the major highlights.
Yeah.
And let's say in case anybody wants to have a deeper dive, happy to connect with them.
Yes.
Over email or over a call.
Yes.
And we can discuss.
Yeah, and I think we will include a link in the description, and that would actually help you understand that they actually found they want to find out about Affable through this video content that they have watched. And the second video that we're going to record is basically some of the key insights that we should look at when working with bigger influencers. So thank you so much, Eepsit, for this call, and thank you for walking us through this dashboard. And it's really a detailed walkthrough, I think. And if anyone who is looking for ways and avenues to get started, I think they can get started with like a free trial plan, 3 days, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, through the landing page, I think they can the link in the description, they can inquire, and if they let you know that they actually watched our video on Sky Digital Agency's Facebook or our YouTube or our Instagram page, they will be able to get that 3 days free trial.
Definitely, and our team also will help them set up their trials and will also help them with the onboarding.
All right, thank you so much, Eepsit. We will be doing the other video where we talk about the bigger influencers that you would like to work with and what are some of the insights that you should look out for.
Sure. Thanks so much, Amin.
Thank you.
Okay.